Think for a second about a machine inside your body that never sleeps. It never takes a break, it's just constantly filtering, building, and regulating every single thing you consume. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to explore the body's ultimate chemical factory, your liver. It is an absolute marvel of biological engineering, and honestly, without it, survival is just literally impossible.
Okay, let's dive into this. 500. That is the staggering number of vital functions your liver performs every single day. It's an absolute workhorse. It cleans your blood, pulls out dangerous toxins, helps you digest your food, and even packs away essential vitamins for when you're going to need them most. It is your body's filtration system, its manufacturing plant, and its storage vault all rolled into one incredible organ.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the liver as a chemical factory, dive into its vital functions, look at what happens when things go wrong, how we actually diagnose those issues, and finally, wrap up with how to protect it. Section 1. The Ultimate Chemical Factory, Anatomy and the Power of Regeneration. Tucked safely right up there under your diaphragm, this organ intercepts basically everything we consume.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that weighing in at roughly 1.2 to 1.8 kilograms, it receives this massive, constant supply of nutrient-rich blood straight from your stomach and intestines. But the liver has an absolute superpower. It's the only internal human organ that can completely regrow itself. I mean, think about that. Even if a staggering 70% of your liver is removed or destroyed, it can grow right back to its normal size, as long as that remaining 30% is healthy tissue. It's this brilliant evolutionary safeguard for an organ that spends its whole life on the front lines, battling toxins.
Moving right along to Section 2, Vital Functions and Superpowers, Metabolism, Bile, and Beyond.
One of its most critical jobs is acting like your body's biological savings account. It actively regulates your blood sugar, so you don't experience those dangerous energy crashes. When you eat, your liver makes a deposit. It takes the excess glucose from your meal and packs it away as a substance called glycogen. Then, when you're fasting, like maybe between meals or when you're asleep, it makes a withdrawal. It breaks that glycogen back down into glucose and releases it right back into your bloodstream. And get this, if those reserves run completely dry, this factory can actually manufacture brand new glucose from scratch. It is a perfectly balanced system, just to keep you running.
But beyond just managing your energy, it's your ultimate security filter. The liver actively detoxifies harmful substances, pulling alcohol, medicines, everyday environmental chemicals, and metabolic waste out of your blood, and converting them into safer compounds so they can be expelled. And at the exact same time, it's running a whole other manufacturing line, pumping out bile. Bile is this essential fluid that essentially acts like biological dish soap. Without it, breaking down and digesting fats becomes incredibly difficult, and your body wouldn't even be able to absorb crucial fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K.
It also acts as an incredibly advanced warehouse. The liver securely stores those vitamins, A, D, E, K, and B12, along with vital minerals like iron and copper, locking them away for whenever your body faces a shortage. Simultaneously, it's churning out essential proteins. It makes albumin, which literally keeps fluid from leaking out of your blood vessels and prevents dangerous swelling. Plus, it produces the clotting factors that make sure you actually stop bleeding when you get a cut. It even houses these specialized immune cells called Kupffer cells that hunt down and destroy bacteria and viruses.
Section 3. When things go wrong, diseases and symptoms.
Now, because the liver does so much heavy lifting, the consequences when it fails are systemic and severe. The biggest threat worldwide right now is fatty liver disease. This includes metabolic dysfunction-associated steatotic liver disease, which is often tied to obesity and diabetes, as well as alcohol-related fatty liver. Then you have hepatitis, which is inflammation caused by viruses ranging from A to E. If that chronic damage continues from any of those conditions, it leads to liver cirrhosis. And cirrhosis is permanent, irreversible scarring that physically chokes the factory's ability to function. Ultimately, this can progress to liver failure, which is an absolute medical emergency, or even liver cancer. There are also genetic diseases that can cause the liver to hoard way too much iron, like hemochromatosis, or too much copper, like Wilson disease. So the crucial point we need to talk about is how stealthy liver disease is early on. Many people have fatty liver or early cirrhosis and experience literally zero symptoms. It's completely silent. But when symptoms do finally appear, they escalate really quickly. Warning signs like vomiting blood, black stools, or severe jaundice, which is that yellowing of the skin and eyes because the liver can't process bilirubin anymore, these demand immediate emergency medical care. Things like confusion, a high fever, or severe abdominal swelling, that means the factory is actively shutting down.
Which brings us to Section 4, Diagnosis and Testing, the Diagnostic Dashboard. Since those early symptoms are so rare,
doctors rely on specific tools to take a look under the hood. When they want to check this factory's performance, they run a liver function test, or LFT. Think of it exactly like a diagnostic dashboard for your car. When they draw your blood, they're looking at specific enzymes and proteins. If your ALT and AST are elevated, that is a huge red flag for active liver cell injury and damage. If ALP and GGT are running high, the doctor knows to look for issues in the bile ducts or maybe assess alcohol use. High bilirubin explains the jaundice we just talked about, while dropping levels of albumin or an abnormal PT/INR score tells the doctor that the liver's manufacturing plant is failing to produce those vital proteins and clotting factors.
While blood tests are usually the first line of defense, imaging gives us the actual visual truth. Doctors routinely use ultrasounds, CT scans, and MRIs to check out the liver's physical shape. And there's a particularly amazing, innovative tool called a FibroScan. It uses specialized sound waves to precisely estimate how stiff the liver is. A stiffer liver means more permanent scarring or cirrhosis. For very specific bile duct problems, doctors might use an ERCP procedure. And when they need a definitive cellular answer, a liver biopsy takes a tiny tissue sample right to the lab.
Finally, Section 5, Protecting Your Liver Health, Maintenance, Myths, and Diet.
Okay, we absolutely have to clear the air here. There is this massive misconception out there that the liver's only job is to process alcohol, and that it periodically needs these expensive, trendy detox cleanses to keep working. And this brilliantly illustrates the truth. The liver processes hundreds of substances every single day, and there is zero, literally zero, strong scientific evidence that any trendy detox drink works better than a healthy liver does on its own. Your liver doesn't need a magical cleanse, it just needs you to adopt a supportive lifestyle.
So what does a supportive lifestyle actually look like? Well, it starts with managing your weight. If you're carrying extra weight, losing just 5 to 10% of your body mass can significantly reverse and improve a fatty liver. You should be aiming for about 150 minutes of moderate exercise each week, along with some strength training. Naturally, avoiding heavy alcohol use and quitting smoking are absolute no-brainers. You can also protect yourself from viral threats by getting vaccinated for hepatitis A and B, practicing good food hygiene, and obviously never sharing needles. And this one is absolutely critical: respect your medications. Never, ever exceed recommended doses, especially with everyday pain relievers like acetaminophen, also known as paracetamol depending on where you live. Taking too much of that can cause severe, irreversible liver injury very quickly.
When it comes to actually fueling this factory, the evidence points to some specific everyday foods that really support overall liver function. Good news for coffee drinkers. Moderate coffee consumption, assuming it's not loaded with sugar and cream, has actually been associated with a lower risk of chronic liver diseases. You can provide incredible raw nutrients by loading up your plate with green leafy vegetables, garlic, berries, citrus fruits, and oats. Healthy fats from olive oil combined with omega-3s from fatty fish and walnuts work beautifully together to help dial down inflammation in the body. And finally, beans and lentils are fantastic sources of clean, healthy protein. Just remember, there's no single superfood that's going to magically fix the damaged liver, but integrating these into an overall balanced diet gives your liver the exact raw materials it needs to thrive.
Look, the liver is, without question, the most complex, hardworking, and forgiving organ in your entire body. It has this unbelievable capacity to heal and regenerate itself. But it can only take so much abuse before that damage becomes permanent. Because the early stages of liver disease are completely silent, proactive maintenance is your only real defense. Take care of your liver today, because a healthy liver means a healthier body, better digestion, way more energy, and ultimately a longer life.
We've covered the anatomy, we've gone over the risks, and we've talked about the protective steps. Now the power is entirely in your hands. But I want you to ask yourself this: can you really afford to ignore the one organ that silently forgives your worst lifestyle habits, right up until the very day it suddenly can't? Pick one habit to change today. Just one. If you found the information in this explainer valuable, please share it with your family and friends so they can learn to protect their vital chemical factory too. Stay curious, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.